On the concern of Nigeria's development, it is important to look at an important component, which is leadership. Nigerians have said in different ways, occasions, and times that the country has everything except for good leaders. Into the bargain, records are showing similar information. My intent here is not to establish whether the leaders of Nigeria are good or not, but to outline what a country can achieve through leadership. And this will be done through juxtaposing Singapore and Nigeria. Before I get into details, it is important I mention that although Singapore has less than 6 million residents, no leading natural resources, over 4 times lesser land area than the smallest jurisdiction in Nigeria, they have more than 2 times the GDP of Nigeria in 2024. This is why it's worth comparing what their leadership versus Nigeria's leadership have achieved over the decades. Hi, my name is Emmanuel Obarwa. I run the number one city development platform in Nigeria. This platform has a singular vision, which is to develop to the point where I can orchestrate the development of contemporary livable cities in Nigeria and elsewhere. Kindly join the family by subscribing or following, and kindly like and share. Make sure to share. Thank you. Singapore is a Southeast Asian country of note. The island city-state is peopled by Chinese and Malaysians, among others. Their total land area is a little over 700 square kilometers, and with no leading resources, Singapore has through leadership grown itself from poverty in the 1960s to one of the richest cities or countries in the world by most measures. No wonder their most valuable asset is their human capital. For more on what Singapore has done with itself since the 1960s, you can check out my previous video. However, and for the record, Singapore has had only 3 prime ministers from 1965 until 2024. On the other hand is Nigeria. The most populous African country has had 16 leaders since the 1960s. These leaders have either been military or civilian. What have they all been able to achieve in military or democratic rule relative to Singapore? While Singapore has 100% urbanization rate and over 88,000 US dollars in GDP per capita, Nigeria, irrespective of its leading resources and endowments such as oil and gas, iron ore, gypsum, gold, lithium, timber, and an energetic, highly motivated, and young population, is sadly dubbed the capital of poverty in the world, with over 100 million Nigerians living under the international poverty line. The country's GDP per capita is still crawling at over 2,000 US dollars in 2024. For a country that wants to develop and compete with its counterparts across the world, some of its agencies still can't be contacted remotely. Power has been epileptic for decades now, and it's slowly looking like telecommunication services are slowly getting on the bandwagon when Singapore is enjoying one of the fastest internet services in the world at over 277 Mbps. Ease of doing business in the country is almost non-existent, while Singapore is investors' paradise. Corruption in Nigeria in 2024 is still a problem, while Singapore is strictly policing against the disease, even if it means executing offenders. Moreover, Singapore has by far one of the best designed and developed cities in the world. On the other hand, the staggering majority of Nigerian cities have not been able to refute a writer like Joseph Conrad on his novella about Africa being the heart of darkness. Although most Nigerian cities are dense, they can boast of being livable, sustainable, aesthetically pleasing, truly walkable and bikeable, efficient with infrastructure, utilities, and facilities. There will be even no mention of being smart and biophilic. At this point, it is safe to say that Nigeria is decades behind Singapore. What does this then say about the leadership of both countries? We Nigerians are great people with a singular mission to develop. Everything needed for our development will naturally fall into place.